It's a bye week for Ohio State, so that means we get to talk about the latest news surrounding the Buckeyes and what's going on in Ohio State football world. And I'm Matt Goldman here on the Ohio State Football Report. Thanks for joining us. The Buckeyes, they don't have much to talk about this week, but I'm still going to bring that content always. And if you love this content, which I hope you do, and the views have been showing it as of late, hit that sub button if you have not so far and hit those notifications so when videos get posted, you're the first to see, first to comment, first to like. That's always a fun feeling to do if you're a Buckeye fan. And also, if you are subbed and you want your friends to see it, share it with them so they can subscribe as well. And you want to support the Bucks like I do, and I show my love for the Scarlet and Gray, do so here on the Ohio State Football Report. I really do appreciate it. All right, so on today's show, not much to talk about, again, as bye week, but the latest news surrounding as they prepare for Week 4 against Marshall. That's 2 weeks away. September 21st is when they're going to kick it off. It's September 9th right now as we're talking. So there's a little while in between for when Ohio State will play. They have not played in September on a bye week or have not had a bye week in September since 2002. In 2002, they won a national championship. I don't know. I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but that could mean something. All right, the three things I want to talk about on today's show: the Big Noon Kickoff announcement for Week 4 against Marshall. We'll get into a little bit about that in the national TV appearance that Ohio State will have. There are two Buckeyes that were named in the latest PFF Connor Rogers mock draft, and they're soaring right now, according to him, as one of the top analysts out there when it comes to the draft. Again, very far away, as March is a long way away, and this Ohio State season is just underway. Last thing, the AP poll rankings. I'll talk about the top 10 and what this kind of means for Ohio State in terms of how the AP looks at them. But again, doesn't really matter because the College Football Playoff Selection Committee is what ultimately matters at the end of the day. The first announcement came from the Ohio State Buckeyes Twitter page, and it was the announcement official with Fox Sports. Big Noon Kickoff is coming to Columbus. We know Big Noon Kickoff comes to Columbus often. When I was a student there, I would say they were there 3 to 4 times in 1 year. That's a lot, and I would say that was the most out of any school that Big Noon Kickoff went to. You would see them set up by the RPAC and the shoe constantly every week, bring their trucks, their buses, whatever they need to set the equipment up. Why is that? Because Ohio State gets the views and gets the national attention that they deserve because they're a big brand, they're a great team, and I love that the A-team of Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, and Jenny Taft are coming to call Ohio State's game, which they do often, and get the pregame show as well. So that Big Noon Kickoff slot is big time because that's where some of the most viewers come in for college football. So let's watch them see Ohio State and see what the Bucs have been doing all year long because they were on Big Ten Network last week. Not the same as Fox. Big Ten Network's still amazing. Love my guy Bart Fox who produces there. But the Buckeyes have been really killing it lately in terms of the team stats. The scoring offense, 4th overall in the country right now, averaging 54 points a game. Pretty good stuff if you ask me. I know, again, small sample size. You might say, Matt, they've only played Akron and Western Michigan. So what? Other SEC teams like Ole Miss has played Furman, and they're putting 76 points up, and they're leading the country in points per game. You would say that if you were in Ole Miss's position, being like, we're the number 1 offense. Ohio State's the number 4. Their scoring defense is the 4th best as well. Between the two games, they've allowed just 6 points overall. Divide that by 2. You get 3 points per game. This defense is averaging and letting up just a field goal per game. That's some good stuff by Jim Knowles' defense and the rest of the coaching staff. Defensively, they have scored 2 touchdowns of their own this year, and that makes them tied for 2nd in the country. You got to love that, and that both happened in the Akron game with Gabe Powers taking a pick 6 to the house late in the 4th quarter, and Lathan Ransom scooping up a fumble for a touchdown. You got to love it to see the Buckeyes defense scoring some as well and helping out the offense, even though they don't need much help. First downs defense, they've only allowed 17 overall this year. Again, another top 5 stat for the Buckeyes. They are limiting the opponents as much as possible to getting past the chains and really advancing their offense, which is what Jim Knowles did so well at Oklahoma State and has been doing so well at Ohio State. Last but not least, their red zone defense is number 1 in the country, tied with about 11 other teams. They have not allowed 1 touchdown in the red zone this year, and that's pretty good stuff. And there's a stat that came in from the Washington University play-by-play announcer, Tony Castricone. There are 5 teams in the country who have not allowed a touchdown through the first 2 games of the season. 4 of them are in the AP top 25. In the top 6, number 1, Georgia, number 3, Ohio State, number 5, Ole Miss, number 6, Missouri. I like what I'm hearing. I really do. That's pretty good stuff by Ohio State. So Jim Knowles, keep it up. But Marshall's coming to town, and As I said, they're going to be on Big Noon Kickoff with the Buckeyes, the third MAC team in a row. The Buckeyes will take on, according to PFF, their premium stats, their overall rankings of how teams grade out each week. Marshall's 38th overall going through these last 3 weeks of college football. So Ohio State, number 2, Marshall, 38. That's a pretty solid matchup, if you ask me, in terms of Ohio State's non-conference opponents, because it's not been the strongest schedule, per se, compared to Texas, where they had to go to Michigan, ultimately destroy them. So good for Texas and good for Ohio State to watch that happen. But Marshall's a good opponent. They're going to be fun to watch. And again, MAC teams are trending for Ohio State to schedule non-conference and always having teams close by where they can just take buses in and not have to spend a lot of money on airplane travel, because that's very expensive for these programs that aren't as big. That's good for Ohio State. And if you really like this video and like the way I've been talking about the Buckeyes all season long, I saw the comment section yesterday blowing up over my Ohio State video. Hit that like button as well. If you're going to comment, just hit that like, cha-ching, and there you go. It shows the support and really helps out the channel in any way possible. Speaking of guys that are being well-liked right now, Emeka Egbuka and Jack Sawyer, their stock in the NFL 2025 draft is rising, according to Connor Rogers of PFF. Not too bad for two guys who are really good players on a really good team, as Emeka's kind of been overshadowed by Jeremiah Smith, and Jack Sawyer is part of a really good defensive line that is kind of grouped together as just the best in America. So where they had these guys going, Emeka was the highest out of these two. Emeka was projected to go 19th overall right now to the Los Angeles Chargers. So does that mean Connor Rogers is saying that Jim Harbaugh and this team, after one win, are going to make it that far and have a pretty solid 500 record? I don't know about that one. Do I know that Emeka could be a top 20 player? Heck yeah, I do. I mean, look at him in 2022 when he was just a sophomore in college. Those stats were out of this world. I've talked about his stats earlier, that in 2022, when Marvin Harrison Jr. was on the team and Jackson Smith and Jigba, he lit it up. 2023, he was supposed to light it up once again. Dealt with a foot injury that really sidelined him for a lot of games, and you could see the difference in the statistics throughout the years. But this year has also been kind of a down year for Emeka in terms of his production because, again, Jeremiah Smith leads the team in every receiving statistic possible, and the guy's 18 years old. Emeka's 21, so you can see why everyone's getting hyped up about Jeremiah Smith and not being talked about as much. But through 9 catches and 149 yards, very efficient. The average is there for what Emeka needs to do, and on film, if he's not getting the ball always and the production's not there, you can just tell how smooth of a route runner he is and how much separation he's able to get between guys. And I thought that was great. Now for Jack Sawyer, 27th overall to the Detroit Lions. So that means they have the Lions going really far this year. I'd like to believe that because the Lions are a really talented team and just got a great win last night in front of the Rams on Sunday Night Football. But Jack Sawyer would be a really good piece for a Lions team that already has really good pass rushing players. Last year, 48 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks. He really ended the season really strong. This year has not been as strong so far, but that's just because of the fact that Ohio State's had a lot of linebackers in there coming off the edges, the stunts, getting the blitzes. The D-line has been putting the pressure on. The QB hits have been there. But the linebackers, Arvell Reese, C.J. Hicks, they have been the ones getting the sacks, and so is JTT, and Sawyer does have a sack on the year. But I think the fact that if you combine Jack Sawyer's abilities on the pass rushing side, plus Aiden Hutchinson, who I know, again, was a Michigan Wolverine, but is a legit NFL player, is one of the best young and upcoming players in this league. It's his 3rd year now, and I think he had the argument to be the number 1 overall player in the draft when him and Trayvon Walker were drafted back-to-back. But this, too, would be an elite combo. I think Detroit cannot go wrong if you're Brad Holmes, the GM there. So I like that pick from Jack Sawyer. Excuse me. All right, the AP poll shakeup for Ohio State. Not really a shakeup, but, a little bit enough to get people talking is that Ohio State slid down 1 spot in the latest AP poll top 10. Texas moved up to number 2, rightfully so. They went on the road to Michigan, who was 9 at the time. Were they deserving of the 9th ranking based on that performance? No, they were not. But Texas really went in there, took care of their business. Quinn Ewers looks like a Heisman favorite right now. That Texas team and Isaiah Bond are rolling. So Ohio State moves up 1 spot. Alabama had a shaky-ish game against USF. I say shaky-ish because about 3 quarters they weren't playing well, and then they ultimately destroyed them. So they stay there. I think Ole Miss is better than Alabama. Love to see Ole Miss get into a top 4 ranking, but I'm fine with the way Ohio State is right now. Missouri, we know how good they were last year, and they beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, which Ohio State had no starters playing that game. So take it for what it is. That wasn't really a great matchup of indication. Tennessee, blew out NC State, national stage on ABC. That was really surprising to see, but I really like the way Nico's playing ball for Tennessee and our guys Joey Peterson, Matthew Peterson here at Chat Sports. Got to be loving their alum and watching their boys play. Penn State, Ohio State will have to face at some point. They struggled against Bowling Green. I don't know about Penn State. I can't tell if they're for real or not. I don't think the country can either. And Oregon kept it close once again. They kept it close with Idaho in week 1, kept it close with Boise State in week 2. Again, are they for real? Is Dylan Gabriel for real? Ohio State will have to face them in just about a month away, month and 3 days exact to this date. And then Miami, Florida with Cam Ward. All the hype in the world for Miami. So are they really legit? This is the AP poll. So the college football playoff ranking is going to be where it ultimately matters. But I am curious. Did the AP poll get the top 10 right? Type Y for yes, N for no down in the comment section. I could say yes to this. I could say no to it. I think Texas does deserve number 2 right now, and I'm okay with Ohio State not taking the heat because that's fine with me. But yeah, the Bucs went down 1 spot this past week, and they received more first-place votes from Texas. That's kind of interesting. They received 5, Texas received 4, but Texas ultimately moves up 1 spot. Not sure how the math exactly adds up there in terms of the first-place votes, but I have no issue with it really because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's the AP poll, but it does signify what journalists are thinking around the country and might be what the College Football Playoff Selection Committee is thinking when it comes time in December to make their 12-team playoff now. Now it's not 4, it's 12. But I'm fine with it. And the Buckeyes fans, if you're upset about this, just relax. No need. Just take a chill pill. Take a cold shower. Just relax. And there's no need for the pressure to be number 1 in the country. Let Georgia handle that. If Georgia goes down, number 1 team goes down, you go crazy. Ohio State goes down, everyone goes on top of Ohio State, down their throats and says, Will Howard stinks. Ryan Day's not ready to be a good coach anymore. They can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Oregon. Would you rather have that narrative, or would you rather have they're 3, they're not 1, there's pressure that's taken off of Ryan Day's shoulders, Will Howard's shoulders, and the rest of the Ohio State community? Once again, I appreciate you guys watching. Hit that sub button if you haven't subscribed because we really do appreciate it, and subs do matter here. And trying to beat my boss, James Yoder, in terms of the month of September, as Michigan did lose. So if you like that Michigan lost and you like Ohio State, hit that sub button. Doesn't cost you anything. It's a free button, and all it does is you get a notification say, Matt Goldman posted a video. Let's watch some Buckeyes. I love it. You love it. And if you want some more content, it will also be on my X and Twitter. Follow me at Matt Goldman 28. Really do appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Go Bucks.